Okay, so welcome to this session. We are going to speak about moving from SQL to NoSQL world in less than 1 hour. I'm David Pilato. I'm technical advocate for Elasticsearch since the beginning of this year. And
I'm Tugdual, and I'm working as a technical advocate or technical evangelist for Couchbase. And let's start to move our app to NoSQL.
So first question is why we are going to move.
So one reason people are moving to NoSQL or any type of database in NoSQL landscape is because of scalability. They want to be able to leverage bigger set of data or bigger set of. So with current relational database, most of the growth is managed by vertical scalability. So you add bigger and bigger server. So you add CPU or you have disk or memory, where with NoSQL database, for most of them, at least the one that has been built to scale vertically, and we will see with our Elasticsearch and Couchbase, you add more and more servers to your infrastructure, so to your cluster, to keep up with the growth of your application.
Also, about searching, with SQL World, you cannot offer full text search for your users. And you can also, you are also limited on a small data set of fields. You cannot search on every field. So it's really painful. Also, you cannot have fuzzy queries. So you can do only exact search, search match search. Sorry for that. So basically building an index, which is building an index in a book, what you have on the last part of your book, this is really what we are doing, will help a lot to solve that issue. So what we are going to show you now is how we can move from SQL to NoSQL. And let's start to illustrate the demo. Here is the legacy infrastructure we have.
And we took as an example a pure Java app with servlet GSPs, but you can extrapolate to any language, programming language you will be using or you are using today.
So our legacy application is based on servlets, and we use Hibernate as well to perform persistence of entities, and we use in-memory SQL database. Okay, so this is our legacy code, and we are going to move from that to first that option. We are going to use JSON, and we want to provide a RESTful API for our application because we want to consume our application from many devices. So the best way to do this is to first create REST API for our application. We are keeping the DAO layer right now, so we still persist in the in-memory database. But after that,
yeah. So we start with moving the
horizontal
API. Then we switch from relational database to the documented-oriented database. So Couchbase will store directly the JSON document inside your database. No need to create object relational mapping anymore. So here we can start to have flexibility in the way you manage your data and scalability by adding new nodes to your cluster. But we still have very simple query language. And the idea is, what can we do to have a more powerful query language at the top of this database?
So the first,
yeah, we change the UI.
we forget something. You talk
So
about this.
in the steps we choose to do the application was relational database, REST API, NoSQL database. Then we change the UI. We consume the REST API. We choose to use a HTML layer, but we could use a mobile application. Ideally, when you start to have more user, you want to give them API to be able to build their applications themselves. So when we have this UI now, we need to do the search, finally.
Yeah, finally. So the idea here is only to push data from Couchbase to Elasticsearch directly. So we will use a simple way to do that. We will illustrate that. And then you may know that Elasticsearch exposes all its services in HTTP, REST, JSON as well. So we can directly move the search from our web application to Elasticsearch when we are going to do searches. Okay. Then we want to make some sense of our data. And to do that, we are going to use a project from Elasticsearch team, which name is Kibana, and we are going to build live analytics to build that kind of dashboard. So that will be the last step of our talk. Okay, so
let's code now.
Let's code. Demo time. So you can find all the demo on GitHub. So you just have to fork that project and follow the README instructions. Let's go. So basically we use Maven. We are from Java, so okay. And we have just to run a Jetty. Okay. So first we are going to show you the legacy code. So I hope that you will understand the stuff. I have to zoom, that's it.
Yeah, so it's really basic Java stuff. So instead of using pure SQL query, we choose to use Hibernate. Expose Hibernate is in a database access object. And so basically do some query from that.
Yeah, basically with Hibernate, for example, when we want to get a person, which is the object we are going to use for that demo, if we want to get a person from the database, okay, we just ask to Hibernate to give it to us. Sorry. If we want to persist it, we can use here Hibernate also to save the person. And for search, if we want to search by name, so we will have to create a query in Hibernate, sorry, and we are searching a person by its name, okay. And what we want to show you, if we want to render a find like Google query, we need to use wildcards like this, I'm sorry, in the query, and use a like query. But you may know that it doesn't scale. If you are going to have many data, I say millions of documents, you won't be able to search with wildcards and like queries.
And every time you will want to add some logic to search on another criteria, you will have to modify this query.
Yeah, we are only searching on name field. So this is the first, the legacy code, sorry. We are going to show you how it works right now. So we have a shortcut here to run the project. So we are building the project. We are injecting, I think, some 1,000 person in database. Okay.
So it's Java, taking a lot of logs.
So yes, we have the injection here. And we can now open our interface, which is here. Okay. So you can see that we have many person injected here. Some person have some fields. This is marketing fields. I mean, this is the number of time the user click on its iPhone application, for example, on cars, and what are its interests, in fact. So this is it. And you see that I have a Joe Smith here. So I can search for Joe, for example. Okay, it works. I can search for
Smith, maybe?
Yes, Smith. It should work. Smith working. But if I search for Smith Joe, I get no result. So this is the first issue that we have with the regular searches that we are doing with SQL
SQL
World.
language, yeah.
So our first step will be to restify our application. So let's go for it. I'm going to kill that. Okay.
So we use different GitHub branches to kind of have a starting point for the different steps. So like that, we don't have to write all the codes. We want to show you the high-level steps, and so it will take 45 minutes. We took 4 hours to write to do that in real life.
So first of all, what we have done for that project, we have modified the injection of dependencies, and we added to this Java project, where is it? We added Jackson. Jackson is a tool that helps to bind data object, beans, to JSON. And we use as well Spring to build our REST interface. Okay? So
we have different ways of doing a REST API. You can either use it directly using a pure HTTP layer, servlet directly. But with this, we use Spring as a framework that will help us to do the different HTTP verb, get, put, and so on serialization of Java to JSON, JSON to Java using Jackson.
So first of all, I will show you that it doesn't work because it's not yet implemented. So I just running the project again, and what I want to issue is a curl request. Can you explain what curl is?
So curl, probably know it. It's just a way to query HTTP requests from the command line. So we simulate a call to the HTTP and to the REST layer.
So I'm trying to get a person here. So this is the request I done. So it's not yet implemented, so I have a 404 error. So let's implement it. So here I want to implement that method. And to implement it, the first thing I have to do is to say that I am using... Oh, okay, thank you. Yeah, it will be faster. So I just have to comment it. That's it?
You reply now.
Okay. Okay.
So we just replace the get method to make it REST compliant.
So we are using here a get call, get method, yes. And we want to extract the ID from the path. So here we say we have the ID in the path. This ID is injected here in that method. So this get method now can call our DAO layer. Remember that it's always the Hibernate and SQL database behind the scene. So we do a get, we get back a person, and we use Jackson, in fact, to serialize that person to JSON using that annotation. So now I have to kill my process and restart it. Yes, Java world. Okay, so I rebuild it.
If we do in Node, we'll be too short, the presentation. So.
No bashing.
Yeah, we never talk about PHP here.
And now if I run the curl to get my person, okay, I can get it. So we wrote all the code in a branch.
Yeah, so
here.
Now David has to write the get, the create, replace the create, the search, using the same approach. So Java APIs that return just JSON document.
Okay, so I can show you the AND code, and especially what I want to show you is the search. Where is search? Oh, it's here. So here we're still using our old search, which is the find like Google query, and we send back a collection of person. That's it.
Yeah.
And that's it. Yeah. So now what we want to do is to move from SQL World to NoSQL using Couchbase as a persistence for our data. So can you help us with that?
So the same way, we have a branch that contains Couchbase code, at least the initialization of the project. As part of that, we just add the dependency on Couchbase. I said that I won't talk about PHP, but you have client for PHP, Node, and so on. So you choose your language. Inside the code, you just have to say, where do you connect? And we have in a small connections to the database that is here that just use a cluster that is a one node cluster that is installed here. So if I go to my Couchbase locally, I can connect to the console. I have what we call a bucket, so a schema where I will put all the data. You see I don't have any item inside. So let's now replace the application code to insert and get the data from Couchbase. So I go to the same class, the service, and as part of that, I want to be able to get the data. So it's here. So because we want to have some add some flexibility to the system, I will just return a string. And I still get the ID. And I do a get. So instead of doing a select on one single, so it's not really what I want.
No, so this is client. You have to use client.
Client.
Yeah, client.
Client. Get.
Yeah. That's it.
And I will use a specific key. For that, I have a specific utility that just use a prefix for my keys. So I use person dash with a counter or something. It's just to help us to organize the content. So get key here, and I will say it's a person, and I will use the ID that I have as parameter.
Okay, so now you have...
So now I can return this as a string. Inside Couchbase, you can store anything up to 20 megabytes, string, JSON documents, integer, images if you want. So I can do the same to insert data inside my, my database. And if I do that, I will do create, set. So a very simple operation to work with Couchbase. And I will use keytil next value for the person, so we will create an ID.
So you have a counter, that's it?
Yeah, I use a counter, and I will use the JSON document directly. So this will insert inside my database the information. So let's now run this and see if it's working.
It should work.
Yeah.
So tests are passing?
Yeah, but we don't insert in this test.
Oh.
So what I will do is I will just init with the rest.
We have a failure here. Compilation failure.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is why we need test. Do you see any?
No, no. No, I don't see anything. Why is this here? So what's the here?
Person service.
Service Java.
Central G console keys.
Oh, yes, you inject in import something.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's it, this one. Okay.
Welcome in Java world. So we're starting my app server with a new class. I have a small command to inject some data as soon as it's up.
Okay, it's up. Oh, this is not E. You are missing something. Yeah. That's
okay.
it, okay.
Yeah. So if I go now inside Couchbase, I should see some documents. So we have 1,000 documents as JSON. So unstructured data from the database point of view, structured data from your application. And the same way, I can get the value.
But you didn't define any schema.
I didn't define any schema. And
do you need to define one?
We don't, because we use directly
JSON?
Yeah. Oh, I don't know what's happening. So by using directly JSON, we are kind of free to work with any schema. You inject whatever you want. This is why I use string get to get the data in, the get the data back. We can hope to have more agility when we work with the new data or new application version.
So now we have moved to Couchbase. Perhaps you can show the end code.
Yeah. Let's show the end code for Git checkout CR3. And so if we look at the full code, we have the same for the insert and for the get.
Yeah. What about search?
Delete for the search. We use a concept of view, so we do queries. I'm looking for, do you see it?
It's before. Just before.
I cannot work. I should see it.
So find like Google, I think. Perhaps.
Find. No.
Be careful.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, sit down. Search. Search is here.
It's here. So the search is just calling what we call a view with a query returning some specific character. So we have the same kind of feature, but limited on the name. So we cannot search on other stuff for now because it's based on an index that is based on MapReduce. Just so internal stuff to deal with a very large set of data and create a distributed index.
You have to check the code because there is an error here. Yeah, just that's it.
Yeah.
And can you inject some data now?
So let me start.
50,000, for example?
So we talk about large volume of data. We are running on a single node. So what I will do is I will inject, just to show that it's fast, 5,000 or 500,000,
no,
so 500,000.
Just like this.
Just using a curl. So we have a loop that will inject more and more data.
Can we look at the console?
And if we look at the console, we will see the number of items. So we have 12,000 operations per second. Obviously, depending on the size of your cluster, the hardware you have, if I don't have enough memory, I will be able to change the configuration of my memory by just few clicks, by adding a bigger cache, if I want, just by changing that, without stopping anything. If you add new nodes, it will be the same. Okay. So injecting data, it's done.
Okay, so now can we build the REST, the AngularJS interface?
Yes, so let's build the UI.
So we choose to use AngularJS because it's a hype framework, so we need to test it.
And the good part is now we are done with the server side. The Java side with the REST API is done. We won't change it. So I just check out Java code. And if you look at back in my application, so I check out the code. And if I go in the web app, you are kind of familiar with Angular now. So if I look at the list, I will just have the list of entry name coming from my controller, and my controller will be a simple call to my different APIs. So the search API, the list of person, or the one single person. So let's get the application up and running and refreshing the app. So we have now a different UI. I can search with different data, starting with look at the data the same way. So this specific application is calling our REST API. We have 500,000, I guess, of documents now. I don't know. Let's see how many.
Yeah, it's done.
Yeah, we have 500. So
can you search for Joe Smith? Because
I can search for Joe and Joe Smith. like
Joe.
Joe,
Okay, Joe Smith.
Joe Smith, because the index contains exactly this value. But if I want to search for Smith as we did before, it won't work because we don't do a like, we do a start with because of the distribution of the index to be very fast. So now will be the challenge about searching more interesting data.
Do you think that I can do something?
I hope.
So let's connect Elasticsearch to Couchbase. So it's a very difficult and hard task. So basically, I download Elasticsearch and I install the plugin which is provided by Couchbase team. And I have to launch Elasticsearch. That's it. So here I launch a single node. I can launch many nodes if I need to. So here it is.
So Elasticsearch will be responsible of indexing data.
Yeah.
And I say data, it's really everything.
So let's have a look at our administration console, which is provided by the community. To all the data that Couchbase will send to Elasticsearch, I need to create an index. So let's start with it. So I create an index, I call it a person, and my index is split into shards. So, and this is where the distribution takes place. In fact, each shard is a Lucene instance. If you know Lucene, each shard is a Lucene instance. So right now I choose to use 5 shards, and I can have replication on the cluster. I can ask for 1 replication for each shard, or 2 replication, or 0. Here I don't need replication, so let's say I create an index with 5 shards, no replication. Okay.
So
that's
now,
it.
For your part.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now we have to find a way to take the content, and every time I add new documents, new data inside Couchbase using my UI, I want to be, the data need to be pushed inside Elasticsearch for full text search and indexing.
So let's start the replication process.
Let's start with Java coding for hours. And so what we have for that, we use one of the features of Couchbase that is cross-data center replication, allowing you to replicate data from one data center to another data center, usually from one Couchbase cluster to another Couchbase cluster. But we use this to also push data in third-party tools, and one of them is Elasticsearch for full text indexing. So I will use the server that we just started, connect to it, and I just have to say which data do I want to push. I want to push from my cluster to Elasticsearch all the data contained in default, and I want to put that in the index, because we don't have a notion of index here, it's a bucket, but it's just the name of the index inside Elasticsearch.
Yeah.
And if you look at the bottom here, it's kind of starting the communication,
So
and now it's replicating.
okay, so let's have a look at our interface. As you can see here, we have 0 documents by now. If I refresh it, I expect that, yes, it's growing. So data are coming from Couchbase directly into Elasticsearch. Cool. So now we can...
So what we are doing here between Couchbase and Elasticsearch obviously could be done with any of your data in your database inside Elasticsearch.
So now I can modify the UI and to connect directly the search to Elasticsearch itself. So
we want to change the search box to be able not only to search into the name, but for example to do with Smith, Smith, Joe, uppercase, lowercase, really the full text search.
So here we can see the number of hits which is increasing. We have other information that comes from Elasticsearch. So now we are connecting right directly to Elasticsearch. Okay. So we can search for Joe as before. You can see that it's fast enough. I can handle the query as I type feature. So I can search for Joe Smith. I can search for Smith Joe as well.
And I see that you have a country
Yeah.
list here. Can I do something with that?
I expect. So let's search for France. Okay, we can search all information that is talking about France and Nantes as well.
Okay,
So
great.
pretty cool.
But I see it's persons. Can I look for example, a girl into Germany or something?
Yeah, probably. I think that the best way to do that is probably to build an analytics dashboard and
Yeah, let's do
to
that.
dig into the information. But just
Show
before
the
that,
code, yeah.
yeah, I want to show you what modification I have done to connect to Elasticsearch from the UI. So I only, modify I perform searches to Elasticsearch. So this is only a call like this. So I'm connecting to Elasticsearch to the index person. I'm calling the search method, and I'm passing directly the query. So that's all.
So what is interesting here is in your UI using AngularJS, you manipulate JSON document when you get onset documents. When you set them inside the database, we still keep the data as JSON document. When we index them with Elasticsearch and when you query them with Elasticsearch, it's still JSON. So it's really easy for the developer to build an API and have a very nice experience to build your API.
Yeah.
So it's done?
Yeah, by the way, our injection is done. So we have now 500,000 documents here. Maybe we can start later to inject more data. So now we want to make sense of this data. So we want to build a dashboard and we want to build it live. We don't know yet what we are going to search for. So let's use Kibana. Kibana is an open source project as well, licensed to Apache license to project. So you can use as you want. So what I want to do here, I want to create rows. Think about what's the name of the UI? Twitter Bootstrap rows. Thank you. The first one is query. I want to do a query. Then I want to build some analytics. And then I want to display some results. Okay.
So you're building your dashboard with simple clicks?
Yeah, that's it. I don't need to code in Java anymore.
Neither HTML, neither JavaScript. Yeah.
So I need to have a box to enter my query. So let's say this size and okay. I want to have, I need a time picker. A time picker is the period of the data. As we come from Kibana, Kibana is built for logs, but you can use that for other things. And basically in logs you have time fields. So here is I have a date of birth field. I need it. My index is person, and I don't use minutes about birth dates, but years. So let's say I have 10 years range, 50 years range, and 100 years range. Okay. Okay, that's it. And I will display also the number of hits. Let's count that, which is a total. I can say, okay, 24. Okay, so you can see here that I have my results. I am searching for everything, so I can search for Joe Smith as before. And I have the number of persons, okay? That's cool. Oh, by the way, we can do something else. Let me modify that. I'm sorry. Yeah. I want to use a multi-query here. Here I can use now a list of value. This is something new.
Yeah, so the good part of this is also everything you see built using the UI will be accessible as an API. You can query your index with all these parameters. So
here I build two queries, Joe and John, and I have the distribution of results with Joe and John. But I want to build analytics because I'm still thinking that you are interested in girls in Germany. That's it? Okay. So let's find this. First of all, I want to build an analytics dashboard, an histogram, a date histogram. So I want to count data here by birth date. So let's add it. As you can see, I have it here. This is a distribution of birth date per year. I can zoom here and have a, oh, there is a peak, you see? Okay, that's it. And I prefer to have lines because it's better. Okay. So here is the distribution of value here. With Joe and John, it's working also. Let me show you. Yeah, this is the distribution of Joe and John per year. Okay. So you want girls, so I have, I can use a pie chart for that. My field is name is in French it's sex. That's it. I have to add it. So this is the distribution between male and female. So you are interested in female? That's it? Okay, so we can find this information. By the way, we want to results. So I need to add a table here. It's based on date of yeah.
To show all the data, also all the documents, the attributes of the document.
Yeah. I will need to add a field picker. You know. So here we have all the fields that exist in our document. So we have, for example, the name, the sex. Is he interested in, I don't know, the country, for example?
The interesting part here is, as you can see, is we never describe any schema. We never say create table with these columns. What we said is in our application, we use JSON documents. We send these JSON documents with Elasticsearch recognize the different attributes, and we can use them inside the query and inside the application.
So I can save all that information in JSON Elasticsearch itself, and then I can read it. So let's reload it.
En général, je mets quelques...
This is on Berlin.
Okay.
Remove that. Okay. So your instance is about girls in Germany. That's it. So in Germany, where in Germany?
Berlin.
Berlin. Okay. And you are looking. Are you
Startup
sure that you are
city.
looking for female? Yeah. Okay. And perhaps with your birth date, so it's here or not? Oh, I'm sorry. So basically, you have now the data you want to show to your users, so you can extract them and whatever you want.
So one of the challenges you have as a developer is always having your customer asking for more stuff. So here you see you can build advanced dashboard. But let's say that now my marketing application doesn't want only to deal with cars and shoes, but you want to deal with a new set of data. I want to talk about garden, we said.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Or sports, or you want to add new values. And if you do that inside your relational database, most of the time you will have to create a new column, negotiate with your DBA, modify your DAO, and maybe you will have to stop the database.
Can you inject before that some data and show that you can modify the database itself live? Okay.
Let's inject another 500,000 of data.
Yeah.
Okay. So we let the system work. In the same time, what I want now is I want to be able to look for this, and I want to add a new value here. So new attributes inside my document. Application changing. So first thing to do, because we choose to work with Angular, I will just change it. What I will do in my form, I will test Facebook. It's better to work this way. So do this.
So you are adding in the interface a new
Channel 15.
Facebook, for example.
title.
Choose the title.
ID. FB.
Okay, so here we have a new field, and you see I use a person.social.facebook, and I can do the same with Twitter, just to add different attributes. As you can guess, if I refresh my HTML page, this is not magic anymore. I see Facebook and Twitter. So Facebook 001, Twitter 002. It's person.0. Let's see in my Couchbase how this data looks today. So before saving, I will go to Joe Smith. Nothing about, so you see address, you see metadata, nothing about social networks. Saving, going back to my part, and I see this new JSON documents being created inside. So obviously we are building a sample app, so in production you want to add security and validation of specific types and this kind of stuff, but for iterative development, agile development, it's very, very, very useful. When you are in phase of prototyping and testing, you can really work this way. And you change your service layer to add more controls later on. But can I now search Joe Smith in my database to see if it's
Okay, if it's here,
indexed?
I don't know if it's
Already
replicates,
pushed, yeah.
or not already. So let's see. What I want to do is to display some Facebook information. That's it. Oh, I don't have it yet.
Yeah.
So let's try again.
Because in the same time we are injecting the 500,000, we are also modifying existing data. So
let's see.
sometimes we have some latency here.
Yeah. So we're still injecting data, and the new Joe Smith is
so
going.
One important thing is we are working on one single node machine. So we have one single Java process for Elasticsearch, one process for Couchbase. Usually on large system, what you do is you have multiple servers. So you distribute the load, you distribute the data, you distribute the indexing, and all the processing of the data.
I'm afraid I don't have it
Yeah,
yet.
so
Sorry, this is the demo effect.
it's okay.
Perhaps we have one?
Yeah, it's here.
Yeah, so we have our Joe Smith here.
Yeah.
And now it's injected, so yeah, I can display the Facebook value and the Twitter value as well. So we are really in the schemaless world, okay? So, yeah, we have some minutes. No, 3 minutes. So we have moved our legacy code to NoSQL code, and we have provide new features, which is search, analytics also, and we don't have any more constraint on our schema. So that's really powerful, but we didn't speak about scaling the system. So what you need to know is that you just need to run over Couchbase nodes, over Elasticsearch nodes to scale out your cluster. So it's really easy and powerful. So perhaps do you have some data about some customers that are using Couchbase?
So usually you will analyze your working set, your data set to know how many nodes do you need. But for example, one of the projects that has been built with Couchbase is a game Draw Something from OMG Pop, so the kind of the Pictionary. And in 6 weeks, they moved from 6 node cluster to a 90 node cluster, from 0 user to 50 million of users, using the same database, moving up the size of their cluster live. And you probably have the same kind of story with Elasticsearch.
Yeah, Booking.com is using Elasticsearch, and they have a 150 nodes cluster, and it scales very well, and it can handle all the requests from the whole million of users they have. So this is cool.
So moving to NoSQL as a developer gives you 2 big benefits. And they are not necessarily related, but one is flexibility in development. So when we say no schema, it's no schema inside the database. It's schema inside your application. You as a developer are responsible of the schema. The other part will be the scalability. It's really you can grow your application, don't worry, add new nodes, and you will scale.